It's a good look at the new parking lot. I know it's just a parking lot, but pretty exciting to see some upgrades here at Cleburne State Park. They've been working on these parking lots for a while. They're building onto at least one or maybe two other ones. And I've learned one thing with state park construction is everything takes an extremely long time for what it is. But it is definitely nice now that they're done with that. I mean, that's gonna really help out. So a little short walk over here to the actual trailhead, and I'm excited to get on trail. So parked right here, and first thing I'm gonna do is hike up and check out the spillway. Seen lots of pictures and videos online, so I expect it to be flowing really nicely. It's cool to see this much water running. You've seen a bunch of my other videos from out here. This will either be completely dry or just barely trickling. This area down here usually holds water. It's a little bit deeper. This is cool. One thing about this yellow trail is to get to the other side, you have to cross this, so it is narrow enough right there to jump. Like I said, normally during summer or whenever there's hardly any water, you can just walk right across, but hard to access this side if water's up real far. Trails are a little bit wet and muddy. Nothing we can't handle. The spillway is flowing pretty good. That's really pretty. You know the water's really coming down. If you see water coming out of this over here on the side, hardly ever goes through there. The water is definitely up, but it is way down from what it was a few days ago. A lot of water coming out of Cedar Creek. Really neat to see. The lake's looking good. This spillway here is divided into several different tiers. This is the upper tier right here. Comes down through fairly thick vegetation. That waterfall right there is one of the most impressive. That's just where we were standing. Took those videos from right there on that little rock wall, and then the big drop of the spillway is right there, and it doesn't look like much here, but it does actually drop off quite a ways. Little bitty bluebonnet. There are a lot of cool fossils in the limestone here, so if you're out here with kids, be sure and look around. They're fairly easy to spot. So one reason I wanted to hike this side of the park today is we're definitely post peak wildflower season, but the Coyote Run Trail and the Limestone Ridge inner and outer loops, they both have good wildflowers on certain sections, and I think we're definitely still close enough to wildflower season that we're going to get videos and pictures of some good ones. That is an Indian paintbrush. One of my favorite wildflowers. Definitely made a good choice coming on these trails here. Still some beautiful wildflowers. It looks like there will be for at least the next couple weeks. Wow, that is really pretty. It's kind of cool. 3 big fossils here, right here, and on this rock right here, all within about 4 feet of each other. So me, my wife, and a few other volunteers put these signs in several years back, and extremely rocky out here, as you can tell from the ground. Where you see dirt, there's solid rock underneath, and so they're very hard to drive into the ground. And so we end up having to stack rocks around a lot of them. You see a lot of other state parks will have like a basket cage with rocks all stacked inside of it to help hold the sign, but they didn't let us do that here. Anyway, so a lot of them have come out of the ground, or people have pulled them out over the last several years, and then the signs get put back up and they'll be turned kind of the wrong way. Like when I walked up to this one, it was pointing out this direction over here, which is definitely not the trail, because the trail turns back around there. Anyway, so sorry to anybody who comes out here to hike and gets confused by those signs. Not to mention they've changed the colors of some of the trails, and I don't know if it's on any of the ones that we signed we didn't get, but maybe a third of the park done, because it's a ton of work and we didn't have a lot of volunteers. So anyway, we did our best, but those signs are definitely confusing. The park uses several other kinds of markers. One's nailed to trees, just colors, and you'll see a little cement blocks painted whatever color the trail is on there. But the trail system out here definitely can be confusing, but if you take your time and look around, you'll surely be able to figure it out. Hadn't seen any wildflowers for a while, but been hiking in pretty thick canopy here for a while on the Limestone Ridge Trail. Normally not any flowing water out here on this trail, but like I said, we've been getting a ton of rain. Let's open back up, which is nice, because it's nice being in the shade in there. Not that I need it today, it's a little cloudy, but you don't get hardly any airflow through there. And I see over here, so that was the Limestone Ridge outer loop. This would be the inner loop, unless they changed the name of it. And I see they spray painted some rocks. I guess this is the purple trail now, which is confusing because there was already a purple trail out here, and I think they changed the color of it. Not a big fan of them spray painting the rocks instead of putting a sign up, but this is the next trail we're gonna do. Go do the inner loop trail. So here's that water drainage we just saw on the outer loop. This is it crossing the inner loop. The inner and outer loop are really good trails for if you want to hike some distance. A lot of ups and downs, but if you're trying to get from point A to point B, they are definitely not the right trail. A purple trail marker. Now the reason I say they're not the right trail for that is these two trails just zigzag back and forth. They don't go in a straight line. So a lot of pointless ups and downs or back and forths, or however you want to look at it. It's pointless if you're trying to get like around the lake or something like that. But if you're just out here for a nice hike and exercise and spending some time in the woods, these are definitely good trails for that. Hadn't been seeing many wildflowers on the inner loop. It's just too dense woods, I guess. There is one really good meadow. That's the whole reason for hiking this loop, is check out the wildflowers in that meadow. Here's the meadow. And it stretches all the way back around there. So normally, probably a few weeks ago, there'd be 3 or 4 different kinds of flowers, if not more, maybe 5 or 6. Definitely dominated by one type of flower right now. Normally you're getting Indian paintbrushes, blue bonnets, all sorts of stuff. Which I can see all those flowers here, but they're definitely past prime. Well, it feels great making it to this spot. Hadn't seen many wildflowers at all here in the last hour or so, and this is definitely the crowning achievement of the hike today. I love this meadow every year, never disappoints, really nice. I just came out, done with the inner loop trail, and that's where I was gonna end my hike today, hike back to my truck. I realize I'm just barely gonna be over 4 miles. Really wanting to get in 5 miles today, so I think I'm going to hike the Spillway trail, the yellow trail, back over to the Camp Creek loop. It's a 1.1 mile loop. Throw that in there. By the time I get back to my truck, should be somewhere around 5 1/4, maybe 5 1/2 miles for the day, and I think I'll call it a day there. Go check out how the water's flowing under the old bridge. There's a lot of times this will be completely dry. Camp Creek Loop is fairly flat compared to the Limestone Ridge, and at least so far until you get over on the fence line is almost completely dirt. So you can cruise along on this trail very nicely. A little warm out here along the fence line. Sun actually came out and not near as much shade. Still a good trail though. Nice and flat and easy to walk. This sign did used to say Texas Lime Quarry back in the day. Most of it's worn off. When you make it to that sign, you know it's time to turn off. Head back this way toward the parking lot, bathroom, and that'll complete the Camp Creek Loop. How would you like to off-trail hike through that? Well, that would be miserable. This little section of the Spillway trail, super nice to walk next to, listening to the water flow. It's not always like this, so that's really neat. Oh, it is really flowing through there. I kind of like to go lay down in that. It's a great way to end the hike. Walking along the creek here. But this is the 3rd time I've passed this so far and still hadn't gotten old. It's a great sight to see. Now I'm going to head off and try to do a little fishing here in the lake. Appreciate you following along, and we'll see you next time.